Everyone, welcome back to the Mental Health Experience. Today we are going to talk about something that really causes a lot of emotional distress. It can be really hard to see sometimes, especially when we live in a society that talks about these two topics as if they exist when in the reality they don't actually exist. But it would be nice if they did. I will say that it would be nice if the world worked this way, but they don't. So we are going to talk about deservingness and fairness. So if you took 5 people and they all went for a job interview and then someone hired them and one person got hired and 4 of them didn't get hired, there would be different perspectives on what was fair and who deserved what from the views of the potential employees and the employer. So this is a very simple but very, very strong example on why fairness and deservingness is not rational. So cognitive behavioral therapy, and I have to say this again, disclaimer, I am a chiropractor, I am not a mental health therapist. This is just what I've learned from my study from Dr. Ellis, the founder of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the gold standard for almost all psychotherapy, which came from Stoicism from 2,500 years ago. Anyway, so fairness and deservingness comes from an idea, whether you are conscious about this or not, of a universal strong power, a universal law, which does not exist that we know of. So it's not included in rational talk because CBT came from REBT, which was rational emotive behavioral therapy, which then turned into with Albert Ellis and Aaron Beck, how we change our thought patterns through realizing that this isn't scientifically proven or not rational. So we catastrophize about these subjects and so forth. And this isn't downplaying certain things. I mean, it's very easy to say, I didn't deserve that, or you don't deserve that. That's not fair. And when you really break those down and look at what your ROI is on these topics, your return on your investment, it's nothing. It doesn't do anything for you, and it never will do anything for you. And it's really hard to realize that. And why is it really hard to conceptualize why deservingness and fairness don't exist is because we have been brought up around these ideas our whole entire life. Whether it's in movies or our parents, oh, you don't deserve that, son, you deserve the world. And we put these magical thinking ideas into our head that don't coincide with the reality of life. And that really can become problematic in lots of different scenarios. A really hard scenario to talk about would be a child who passes from cancer, or like my father who passed from cancer. We'll use that because it's more particular to me and I can relate to it better. Well, my father deserved, it wasn't fair that my dad died at 60. Well, that's not true. He had cell proliferation, he got cancer, and he died. That's just the way life is. And, people are born and we die and more humans come and go. And this is a really hard thing to talk about because there's a lot of beliefs and perspectives about this that come into play. But when we start to break them down one by one, and this is something that Albert Ellis, everything I'm talking about, is I have learned from Dr. Albert Ellis, and I have learned from basically Stoicism. And that is probably the most rational way you can look at things because Dr. Albert Ellis, through cognitive behavioral training, realized over a 70-year period that majority of people, not all, create their own emotional distress by their irrational beliefs. So, someone might get really, really upset because they don't think it was fair that they took a test with other people and the questions were randomized and that person got easier questions compared to them. That is a perspective. That's not factual or not. It's just your perception. You actually might have done worse on that test if you would have taken it, but you have created this belief about the situation that you believe that you have deserved this certain thing, and that's not true. So I could speak for myself dealing with how I've talked about very, very severely debilitating OCD when I ended up in a mental hospital. I could have sat there and said to myself, I don't deserve this. It's very easy to say when someone is suffering, they don't deserve that. But let's break that down. Who says I don't deserve that, or this shouldn't have happened to me, or it's unfair? Who's to say that that's true? If you ask 100 different people, 5 of them might hate me and say, hell yeah, he deserves it. And that just goes to show you right there, deserving and fairness is just a perspective. The concepts themselves are not real. And that is not easy to grasp. It takes a long time, especially when you've been using this verbiage your whole entire life. I have been talking about deservingness and fairness. Some be like, oh, that's not fair. You don't even think about it. But then when you break it down and think, well, why isn't it fair? Who's to say that this person shouldn't have had X happen to them and so forth? And then you start to realize that it's so subjective that it doesn't have any validity in the realm of cognitive behavioral therapy coming from rational thinking. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a habit that we all have. It's in every movie, it's in all society and so forth. And rightfully so, we're going to think like that until we start to break these things down. This is why cognitively thinking, what's disputing irrational beliefs, really can help people who are in emotional distress when those perceptions are causing their own. I've used this exact example, one that Dr. Albert Ellis talks about, and this is why everything in our life is based off perception, and this is why you could actually go your whole life in one of the worst scenarios you can imagine. Dr. Viktor Frankl, who was a 3-year survivor in the Holocaust and kept a very good perspective. No matter what happens to you, you could still, I'm not saying you wouldn't be in pain, I'm not saying you wouldn't have bad days, but generally you could accept what's happening to you. And so if you were on a train platform and someone was poking you in the back, I used this in my anger video, and someone was poking you in the back, and you were angry and angry and angry, and you turned around and you were like, yup! And you noticed it was a blind person hitting you with a stick. The situation did not change. Your perception of the situation changed. That describes everything in life that comes to deservingness and fairness. Almost every single example you could possibly think of. And this is what Dr. Albert Ellis did at the Albert Ellis Institute in New York for 70 years. Showing people, and some people are not receptive to this. If you want to believe in deservingness and fairness, that's your own right. It's just not scientifically proven, and it's probably not rational. But you as a human have your own right to believe that. But if it's really causing you some sort of emotional distress, it might be time to break things down and look at things in a more cognitive behavioral way. This could be beneficial for you in multiple aspects of your life. Most of the time no one is making you angry. Your perception and belief is what's making you angry. That person did not make you angry. Do you see what I'm saying here? Your perception on the situation that person or that thing didn't deserve that, or you don't deserve that, says who? The universal law that doesn't exist, that we don't know? Could there be a universal law that's unknown? Yes. But more than likely, there's not, because it cannot be scientifically proven. So it's not rational. And this is how we go about in cognitive behavioral training. Again, not a mental health counselor, just anecdotes from my experience. So this is something really good to discuss, whether you think this is affecting your life. The best book I can recommend is Dr. Albert Ellis, again, founder of cognitive behavioral therapy. How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything, yes, anything, and the myth of self-esteem, because self-esteem is always conditional and self-esteem is a myth. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will talk about some of his books because I think they're really good for the mental health of basically everyone. And these tools can help you in a lot of aspects of your life, especially if you are creating your own emotional distress, which most chances, more than likely you are. So I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great day.